Tiffany Henyard's power struggle takes a twist. She can't even get her lawsuit against Village of Dalton and Township of Thornton. She can't even get that right. It's, we're going to launch this lawsuit. Oh, never mind. We got to take that back because we got to take somebody's name off and resubmit it. Can't even get a lawsuit launched correctly. Let's get into it. Here we go. All right, here's a little rundown of what that lawsuit looks like and how we got there.
Dalton Mayor Tiffany Henyard, who is also Thornton Township supervisor, is suing both Dalton trustees and the township's Democratic caucus after losing the nomination for her leadership role.
She claims the caucus process was unfair and accuses State Senator Napoleon Harris, the caucus leader, of voter suppression. In Thornton Township, Henyard claims Harris and caucus organizers locked out supporters during the December 3rd nomination meeting, forcing many to stand outside in freezing weather. She alleges the process was rigged and says the decision to hold a caucus instead of a primary denied voters their rights. Harris denies the claims, insisting the caucus followed state tradition.
It's about the process as a whole. It's about the people. I've always stood for the people. That's why I'm called the people's mayor, the people's supervisor. And that evening, I was very confident that I will be victorious in getting a nomination because the people really do stand with me. But I was not able to display that because our voices was taken.
And Dalton Henyard's lawsuit accuses trustees of limiting her power to appoint leaders like police chief and village attorney. Trustees and caucus members deny the claims, calling the lawsuits a distraction.
Head on over to reasonabletv.com. Check out some of the most recent stories. We got one. LA flash mob mayhem, 7-Eleven ransacked, team swarm. Now, the reason that story's over there is because you had a flash mob that absolutely destroyed a 7-Eleven. Yeah, crime on the interweb. Some of the other networks just don't want to carry that. So got to go elsewhere, right? On top of Kentucky judge executed by his own sheriff for sextortion scheme. Ooh, that is some nasty stuff. Judge gunned down by sheriff, ran a courthouse like a brothel in sextortion scheme. This is per a witness. Want to check out that stuff? What's it going to cost you? It's like $3.99 a month. ReasonableTV.com. Check it out. Thanks in advance. So I had a little email back and forth with Critical Smoker, another YouTuber. And we were talking about, well, hey, any which way we look at this, we've got Tiffany Henyard. She's going to be in office until I think, is it April when those elections take place? So unless the FBI comes in and just says, yo, honey, you're out of here. We got to take you to jail or whatever. She gets prosecuted, which I don't see happening. We've got Tiff for at least another 5-6 months. I mean, it's, crazy. What we've got going on here is this lawsuit that's been launched, right? And it comes down to Tiffany Henyard is basically stating the election was stolen from me because instead of doing a regular primary, we did a caucus, and Napoleon Harris, state congressman, he basically, and he is also their committeeman for Township of Thornton. He basically ran a caucus, and Tiffany Henyard didn't have all of her ducks lined up, and she didn't have an auditor, somebody that's certified, a certified auditor to run on her ticket. And so she was disqualified. But she claims that she wasn't able to be part of the process because all of her people were waiting outside in the cold. It was just chilly cold. All right. Okay. But you're so far outside of the realm of reason here on so much of this stuff. It's like, where else does these kind of shenanigans go on? And what I'm not saying that what Napoleon Harris did was either legal or ethically correct either. I don't really know. I am not familiar with this process, but it seems to me like there was definitely some politicking involved. Is that illegal? I don't think so, right? He can make up the rules, right? Napoleon Harris can make up the rules. He's the committeeman. That's his job. Hey, this is what we're doing. Hey, this cycle, we're going to go do a caucus. And And Tiff, dictator of Dalton, the super mayor, Tahoe Tiff without the Tahoes. You didn't have all your ducks in a row. So therefore, you're not even on the ballot. So we're just going to do a simple, hey, everybody want Napoleon to be their guy? Yep. And so that's how the Democrats basically rolled to, several hundred people in the gymnasium while Tiffany Henyard's people were outside in the cold, who knows? What's a judge going to say? That's going to be super interesting, right? But even this launch by Tiffany Henyard right here goes sideways. South suburban politician Tiffany Henyard struggled to stay in power, took a strange turn in recent days when her attorney filed and then quickly dropped. Oh, yeah, launch. Oh, got to take that back. Took back a lawsuit claiming she was illegally blocked from participating in Democratic Caucus slating meeting. I am shocked by the politics of it all. Henyard attorney Max Solomon told WGN Investigates Monday morning. Just shocked. But he's getting paid. He didn't care. He's getting paid. Whether they come, whether they go, whether they sit on their thumb, gets paid. That's what attorneys do, right? That's the deal. Solomon said he dropped the lawsuit after Dixmoor Mayor Fitzgerald Roberts demanded to have his name removed from the lawsuit as a co-petitioner alongside Henyard. Solomon says he plans to refile the lawsuit with the same claims, but without Roberts. Roberts is like, this doesn't make me look all that good. I support you, Tiffany Henyard, but not that much. Yeah, I'm a no-go on the lawsuit. Honey, you're going to have to venture on this one by yourself because, I've told the attorneys, nope, I don't want to be on that suit. Reached by phone, Roberts said that he actually agrees with the lawsuit's claims that Democratic Township Committeeman Napoleon Harris was wrong to conduct a rushed caucus that happened while township residents were still standing outside waiting to be allowed inside. Whether or not they were outside, does it matter if she wasn't on the ticket? Does it matter? I mean, that's kind of some of my questions. That's my main question. Is it even relevant that people are out in the cold? No, I don't think so, because say you let them come inside. Okay, so now you got 200 Tiffany Henyard supporters inside the gymnasium with, say, 400 supporters of Napoleon Harris. So when Napoleon Harris reads the exact same damn thing with the way that caucus went, which is Tiffany Henyard was not on it because she was disqualified, what are those 200 people going to be doing in there besides playing thumb with each other? It makes no sense. So this whole notion that our voices weren't heard, well, yeah, but from my standpoint, if you weren't on the ballot, if you weren't on the ticket, hey, sorry, better luck next time. You know what I mean? You got to have things lined up. Now, whether or not a judge will agree with that, it's hard to say, right? Here's that lawsuit. Tiffany Henyard and others, plaintiffs versus Napoleon Harris and others, defendants. So yeah, this lawsuit went boop, boop, right back. It's one of those zingers. It was a boomerang lawsuit, right? It's incoming. Like in the original Mad Max when the kid threw the boomerang and it went out and that one guy reached up to grab it and it cut off his fingers. Yeah, that was my childhood watching that kind of thing. It was excellent, right? He took us back a long time to a time when people couldn't vote, Roberts said, talking about Napoleon Harris. Henyard is telling the truth. People couldn't get in. Now, does it matter? Does it matter whether they can get in or not? I don't think it does. In my opinion, if I was a judge following the timeline of events, I don't think it matters. She wasn't qualified to be on there. She didn't have an assessor on her paperwork. All right, you're done. You're toast. Boop, out of here. There's a procedure that has to be followed. And if you don't follow it, that is what happens. That to me, that's the way I see it. I see it kind of black and white. Other people are like, yeah, but the whole democracy was violated here. Like, nah, you couldn't get your ass in gear to, get a complete ticket. Now, Tiffany Henyard says that existing politicians already in the system don't have to have a complete ticket. It's like complete slate is what they call it. All right, which just means everybody lined up on your paperwork filed with the township. WGN spoke with Henyard supporters outside the December 3rd caucus who said they should have been allowed inside to make themselves heard in the voice vote that happened as Henyard was told that she couldn't speak. It's manipulation, said resident Rena Boston. But then again, your voice isn't going to be heard if your girl isn't on the slate. Then, you can yell out all you want, but it's not relative. It's not relevant. It's not even a thing. I must be missing something here, right? I gotta be missing something because otherwise Harris, who serves as a state senator in addition to township committeeman, appointed himself at the top of the Democratic slate to run for Henyard's job as township Thornton supervisor. Harris supporters blocked people from entering the building until 30 minutes prior to the caucus, saying they were holding a private event. It appeared to include free food for those who allowed it. Who doesn't want free food? And then Tiffany Henyard is saying, hey, we couldn't get in there. And I understand all of this attention being placed on the fact that Tiffany Henyard and her supporters couldn't get inside. But to me, I don't really care. Tell me why that's illegal. Show me how that is illegal. This unethical? Maybe. Hey, let's hold them outside. Okay. But the bottom line is, if she was on the ticket, different story. If she was on the slate, different story. That's my opinion. That's the way I see it. And plaintiff Tiffany Henyard never got the opportunity to exercise her right to participate, nominate, and or be nominated. Well, she was disqualified, so that really wasn't a thing. Dixmoor Mayor Fitzgerald Roberts said he is willing to testify to what he witnessed. Okay, we've all seen it on video. We get it. We get it. I do not like dictatorship, Henyard told reporters last week. This coming literally from a woman who is known as the dictator of Dalton. Dictator of Dalton. Now, so what will happen to this? I mean, the thing it'll get resubmitted. You'll have just a bunch of nonsense. There are 49, maybe this is lawsuit number 50. I'm sure it's well beyond 50 lawsuits now. Who is funding all of these? Who is funding all of these lawsuits? I mean, so many. That's into the millions and millions and millions of dollars. I mean, this is known as a whale of a case, right? If you're either defending Tiffany or you're defending the township or defending the whatever, they need your services because you're tied up in legalese all day long. So this whole ridiculous thing just keeps on going. Here's something that was really interesting to me. Regina Waldrop from NBC 5, are they? Yeah, NBC 5 Chicago. This is a 51-minute documentary that she did. I've watched parts of it. It looks really good. I'm waiting till I get a complete hour to watch this on my own. Believe it or not, that's a pretty rare event because I'm always watching little bits and pieces of all kinds of crazy storylines. But I need to have like a long cardio session or something to watch this. So this is a brand new extended documentary on YouTube from Regina Waldrop called The Super Mayor, The Cost of Chaos in Dalton. It looks really good. So you need to check that out. And the reason I bring that up is right after the December 3rd caucus happened, it was Kamal Woods, who is the married boyfriend to Tiff, the dictator of Dalton, Tahoe Tiff, to Super Mayor Tiffany Henyard. So the married boyfriend of Tiffany Henyard literally looks right at Regina Waldrop and calls her out for being media that is wrong, for getting the story wrong, and for tilting the story in a way that doesn't show Tiffany Henyard in a positive light. He even called her out for being from Harvey. She's from Harvey, which is a couple of villages to the south and west of Dalton. Now, you've got a couple of other players in there of equal tenure, I believe. You've got Jermont Terry. He grew up in Beverly. And then you've got Nate Rogers, who grew up in East Garfield Park. Now, Beverly is to the north and west of Dalton by a couple of villages, and East Garfield Park is to the west of the West Loop. It just basically west of downtown Chicago. So you've got three main reporters in Chicago that were born, grew up there, and have been doing their thing. They've been reporting on this story. Now you've got a few more. You've got other reporters like we talked about in this story here. You've got Ben Bradley, older white dude, and then you've got Jenna Barnes, white, younger female. And you've got a couple of others. You've got Dane Placco, older white dude, covering these stories. But, you know, the real emphasis was on Regina Waldrop of 5, because she's doing this documentary and she's viewed as a local and she's a female. So, you know, they went ahead and just hammered on her that she is not the one. She's the one that is, you know, responsible for all this, the wrong position of the optics on the whole Tiffany Henyard thing. That to me was really interesting, because they didn't go after Kamal Woods, didn't go after Nate Rogers, didn't go after you know, other folks that he could have, but he went after a local girl and, you know, didn't go after Jamont Terry, when all these people were born, raised, and grew up in Chicago. But let's go after the girl. Let's go after the local girl. I have found nothing wrong with her reporting. I found nothing wrong with any of the folks that have been reporting on these stories. Like, the books are not cooked. So to me, it's a story of these reporters, all they got to do is show up with a camera, and that's the story. Because this stuff is so crazy, it's so nutty, that these storylines keep going on and on and on. Like, you can't get your lawsuit even lined up. Hey, yo, mayor of Dixmoor, you going to be in on this lawsuit with me? Oh, yeah. Love you, Tiff. Love you, Tiff. Oh, good Lord. This doesn't look good. Get my name off there. Yo, Max, you got to take my name off that suit. It doesn't make me look good. Totally believe in your client. Totally support what your client's doing, but take my name off the damn lawsuit. You know, just ridiculous stuff like that happening time after time after time after time. So Regina Waldrop, you know, all these folks reporting on this, all they literally got to do is show up with the camera and hit that little record button, have that little red light blinking. Yep, we're recording. That's all you got to do. Because, you know, from Tiffany Henyard's perspective, from Kamal Wood's perspective, you know, the truth is not the truth. It's something else. And that's part of what this story is. That is part of what this Tiff thing is, because there's this whole struggle by Tiffany Henyard to convey to her followers and to convey to everybody else that her side of the story is not being told. It's being told, though. It's being told all right. It's being told out in the open, on YouTube, on mainstream media, and it is what it is. That is the real story. It's wild stuff. It's a wild, wild story. All right. That's it for me on this one. Thanks so much. But I will be covering this as we go. Up through April. I mean, do we make it to April? Probably. Going to be some fireworks along the way. All right. That's it for me. Thanks so much for being here. I'll catch up with you in the next one. Bye for now.